So you've trained for months, maybe even years for this 70.3 or Ironman race. And the last thing you want to do is end up disqualified because there was a unique rule that you weren't aware of and you fell foul of, and then you end up not getting the day you deserve. So in this video, I'm going to go through the key rules that you need to be aware of and how to follow them to make sure you do not end up with the dreaded DQ beside your name. So let's get to it. The most common way that athletes end up with a DQ or not getting their finisher medal is because they don't actually make the cutoff times. So it's key that you know the cutoff times and you train to make sure you can get there. So for the 70.3 race, the standard cutoff times are 70 minutes for the swim, 5.5 hours for the bike leg, and then 8.5 hours in total. For an Ironman, it's 2 hours 20 for the swim, 10.5 hours for the bike, and 17 hours for to complete the run leg. Now, please bear in mind that these are standard times. Certain races throughout Europe and America, for example, Ironman Copenhagen, Ironman Barcelona, and Ironman Chattanooga, have slightly different cutoff times because they're known as being a fast track. So make sure you check and you make sure that you're aware of the cutoff times for your race and that you've trained and you're comfortable making those times and have your pacing strategy ready. The most commonly talked about way of getting disqualified in Ironman and 70.3 races is what we call drafting on the bike. This is where you are deemed to getting an unfair aerodynamic advantage by being within 12 meters of the cyclist in front of you. That means you're in their slipstream and it's making your life easier and getting a benefit from them breaking the wind. So to avoid this and not get a drafting penalty, and I'll talk about this penalty in a second, you need to, one minute you're within 12 meters of the cyclist in front of you, you have 25 seconds to make the entire pass and get in front of them. If not, you will be seen by a motorcycle marshal, and they are motorcycle marshals on the courses, and they will issue you what's called a blue card. A blue card will mean that you have to get the next penalty tent, and you'll be told in the briefing where they are in the course. And for 70.3 level, you need to stop for 2 minutes. For Ironman distance, you will need to stop for 3 minutes. You can accumulate only 2 blue cards because the third blue card you receive will mean that you are disqualified. So just be aware of how close you are cycling to the cyclist in front of you. And if you are gaining, do make the effort once you're in that draft zone, that's the 12 meters gap, that you make the pass, you put a bit of a spurt on and you accelerate in front of the cyclist in front of you. Otherwise, you will end up with the DQ. Another way that athletes typically get disqualified on an Ironman course is if they're caught littering. The rules in Ironman course say you cannot discard gel wrappers, bottles, banana peels, whatever on the course. And if you're seen by a race marshal, you will get rightly disqualified. We are guests in the country, we keep it clean, and we bring all our rubbish back with us. The only exception to this rule is at aid stations, where you will see at the start of the aid station, at the end of the aid station, a trash area and an end of trash area. In that zone, you're allowed to discard bottles, gel wrappers, etc., because that makes it easy for Ironman to tidy up and leave the beautiful location we're in exactly as we found it. So please do not be a litter bug. It will ruin your day as well as the countryside. Another way to end up in the wrong side of the technical officials is using banned equipment. Now this goes from the range of Ironman has a list of banned footwear that you cannot use on the run leg. Make sure you check that list. I'll put it in the comments below. Make sure you're not planning on running in those banned footwear. It would be fairly harsh that the Ironman, the referees will go check it, but why take the risk? Another more common reason why people get in trouble on Ironman races is they try to wear headphones or AirPods during the bike or the run to listen to music. That is completely banned and it will get you disqualified. Other items that you cannot, a bit of confusion of late was in the Ironman rulebook. It said that smart watches are not allowed. To be clear, this does not mean you cannot use your Apple Watch or your Garmin to track your race progress. You 100% can. But what it does mean is you can't use it to communicate with your phone. So you can't use your Apple Watch to read text messages when you should be paying attention to the bike. Just be aware of that. Other very new rules in 2024 include the banning of putting water bottles or hydration systems down the front of your tri-suit or equipment, or your kit on the bike, because that was deemed to giving an unfair aerodynamic advantage. To be clear, this does not preclude you using a hydration vest on the back of on the bike or on the run, just not down the front. The other 2024 rule change means that it is actually banned to tape up around your aero bars, because again, this helps with the aerodynamics, and this is known as fairing, and that's banned. Again, to be very honest, this is something that there will be more policing at the pro level, but just be aware of the rules and don't draw unnecessary attention to yourself. Another way that you'll end up with the DQ against your name is if you receive outside assistance on the race. This is very much primarily aimed at being people who are taking fuel from spectators, supporters, etc., or taking a bit of extra equipment from them. This is 100% banned, and it will end up with a DQ. There is a open question mark over people who are handing sunglasses or baseball caps to someone in the crowd. Again, because it does count as outside assistance. Realistically, they're not going to be too hard on this on age groupers, but why take the risk? If you think that you do not want to use something, leave it in transition and just keep your nose clean in this regard. Another thing that Ironman and most smaller races will not tolerate in any shape or fashion is if you're abusive to volunteers or race officials. So whilst everyone's race is important and you might be quite stressed, if someone is holding you up trying to get into transition because there's a back, do not lose your temper, because you will get disqualified. And this can happen at any point in the race, even after the race has ended. I've been in a number of races where somebody has lost their temper because they cannot get their bike that quickly out of transition, even though the times are clearly stated, and they'll give out to a marshal. If a race referee sees that, they are with it completely in their right to disqualify you, even post race finish. So, yes, the race is important, but please keep calm and do not lose your temper, especially to volunteers, because they have given up their day to allow you have your day. Do not make it a worse day for them. A couple of other kind of minor honorable mentions, for want of another word, is just things that you probably should be obvious, but I'll shout them out anyhow. You cannot be fully nude in transition for most races. Europeans are a little bit more lenient on this, but if there will be changing tents, or bring a towel if you're going to do a complete change in T1 or T2. No one really needs to see all you in your Sunday best. The other item is that dangerous cycling will also be penalised. Certain races, depending on if the roads are closed or not, will result in you having a DQ if you cross the white line. Again, just make sure that you are aware of the race rules on this, because it will be course specific. And the final one I'll call out, because again, it did happen a lot, but Ironman has clamped down on this. You cannot bring anyone up the finish chute. A lot of people, proud parents, want to bring their kids over the finish line, have them in the finish photograph. Ironman is 100% against this, and they will ban you if you try to do this. Because in the past, someone bringing over their child has got caught up in another athlete sprinting and becomes a health and safety issue. That said, if they do that finishing line picture with your family is very important. Some of the non-branded races, such as Outlaw, do allow that to happen. But again, this is just the rules that Ironman have, so make sure you're aware of them and do not risk ruining your day. So I hope you found the video useful and are a bit clearer on the rules specific to Ironman racing. But just a quick summary. 1. Know your cutoff times and make sure you're trained and be ready to hit those times. 2. Do not draft. Race honest. 3. Do not litter. We leave the race venue in exactly the format we found it. We take only pictures, we leave only footprints. 4. Make sure you're aware of what equipment you can and cannot use, and pack accordingly. 5, plan to be self-sufficient on the course in terms of don't be reliant on outside assistance, but this also means that you know what's at the aid stations and where your personal needs bags may be, and you can use those to plug any gaps during the day. And 6, be polite. That goes to marshals, race officials, and your fellow athletes. Good karma is what we need in our community. Okay, guys, so hopefully that was useful. I wish you the very best of race, and we'll see you at the start line in the near future.